Seed of the prophet shall sit the throne and drown in flame the mountains of man.
Booker, are you afraid of God?
No, but I'm afraid of you.
So here we are. Following a 5.5-year gap and 2 delays, the true follow-up to the first BioShock has finally arrived. With Irrational Games back at the helm, the team have crafted not necessarily a direct sequel to the first 2 games, but a successor that's more BioShock in spirit than in setting or characters. Featuring and expanding upon the gameplay concepts and themes introduced and then subsequently lauded in the first game, BioShock Infinite offers up another mature, intelligent and absorbing gameplay experience. With the first BioShock being known for its fantastical and well-realised setting, Irrational Games have had to step up once again and craft an all-new location that lives up to the benchmark they set themselves with BioShock 1's Rapture. Not only have they matched it, Irrational Games have exceeded it. Say hello to Columbia, a skyward city gently cohabiting with the clouds. With the game taking place in 1912, Columbia has this fantastic blend of early 20th century and steampunk aesthetics, and the resulting architecture and overall look of the city is stunning. Columbia is teeming with vibrant and vivid hues, and it's certainly one of the most colourful environments I've seen in a AAA action game in years. Exploring the city in the introductory stages is nothing short of awe-inspiring. The explanation and backstory behind why Columbia is floating could be considered mildly spoilerish, so I won't divulge in all the details. I'll likely go over the main plot and story points, but I don't want to reveal too much. The less you know about the game going in, the better, I think. So Columbia is run by a man named Zachary Hale Comstock, or the Prophet, and he's created this cult of personality within the city. The ruling class citizens of Columbia, the founders, revere the Prophet as some sort of god. On the other hand, you have the Vox Populi, a resistance force who claim to represent the common folk of Columbia. As you can probably imagine, the founders and the Vox don't like each other very much. American exceptionalism, jingoism, xenophobia and racial segregation are common themes throughout the game, with the founders believing strongly in a pure American citizenship, where the Vox believe in restoring rights to all. You play as Booker DeWitt, a disgraced former agent who's turned to the bottle on a lifestyle of gambling. Booker finds himself in Columbia on a mission, to find a girl named Elizabeth and bring her to his client. So, with this one task at hand, thus begins a rip-roaring action-packed adventure through Columbia. In terms of gameplay, fans of the original BioShock will feel right at home from the off. BioShock Infinite features the same effortless blend of first-person shooting, exploration and light RPG elements such as upgrading weapons and powers. The plasmids from the first game are back, only this time they're called Vigors, but they can grant you some awesome abilities all the same. Familiar powers like setting your enemies on fire or shocking them with a blast of high voltage electricity are back, accompanied by some new powers like summoning a flock of murderous crows to peck foes to death, or the charge ability, allowing you to run into enemies at high velocity to deal damage. Mixing the Vigors with the standard gunplay gives the combat in BioShock a unique flavour from most AAA action games, but seamlessly incorporating them into the combat proved to be quite tricky, and I still don't think I had fully mastered it by the end of the game. I don't know whether it was due to button placement being a bit awkward or simply because I didn't upgrade the Vigors enough to be super effective, but I often found it was far more efficient to just keep pumping the rounds into the enemies rather than fumbling about with the power menu trying to select the right one for the job. The game kept prompting me to remember to use my Vigors, but I just didn't really feel the need to all that often. The gun combat stands up great on its own, with the weapons having a satisfying and weighty feeling to them, and blowing off heads with a hand cannon never ceases to be fun. Another facet of the combat is the skylines. These roller coaster-like rails can be found around various parts of Columbia, and you acquire a piece of equipment early on in the game that allows you to hop on and ride them. In combat, the skylines add some fun and exciting flair, playing host to some fast-paced and frantic shootouts. Utilising a blend of gunplay and Vigors to take down enemies whilst leaping between skylines during battle is just so much fun. You can buy Vigor and weapon upgrades from vending machines scattered around Columbia, granting you extra damage, reduced reload times, less recoil and things like that. Exploring the world will also uncover gear, which are clothing items that grant you bonuses such as causing enemies to set on fire if you melee them, or making enemies drop more ammo when they die. Exploration plays a big part in BioShock Infinite if you want it to. I reckon I spent just as much, if not more time exploring Columbia than I spent shooting, but you can't help it. The city is just so richly detailed, and an abundance of cash and secrets makes exploring irresistible to a player like me who insists on seeing everything before moving on. While you spend a little bit of time searching for Elizabeth at the beginning of the game, it's not long before you catch up with her, and with the second half of your task being to deliver her to your client, this means that the large majority of the game is spent with Elizabeth at your side. Having an AI companion follow you around for most of the game was a risky move on Irrational Games' part, and if not executed correctly, it had the very real potential of being frustrating, infuriating, and a detriment to the overall experience. Fortunately, the developers pulled it off, and Elizabeth works excellently as a partner. I never found her to be a hindrance at any point in the game, and she really proved to be helpful during both combat and exploration. In battle, she'll actively seek cover and hide, and she'll helpfully throw ammo or health packs to you if you're running low on either. She has other uses too, which I won't reveal. Again, the less you know going in, the better. While you're poking around Columbia between combat encounters, Elizabeth will also point out pickups you may have missed, such as lockpicks, which she can then use to crack open a safe containing goodies or access a room off the beaten track. It's the little things like that that really sell her AI, and it's clear that Irrational Games put a lot of work into making Elizabeth interact with and react to the world around her in a believable manner. It was important for the developers to get this right, considering she plays such a central role in the game. Seamlessly weaving cutscenes and plot-centric dialogue in with the gameplay was another important aspect of BioShock Infinite. There are no pre-rendered videos, and all cutscenes seamlessly transition to and from gameplay. They never feel disruptive or intrusive, so the game has a really nice flow to it. It also helps that the game is very well written, and there was never a moment where I wasn't interested in seeing what happened next. Especially so towards the end of the game, where it decides to delve into a bit of mindfuckery, but you can't play a BioShock game without expecting a bit of that. So before we wrap up, let's have a quick look at the game's options. It has the bare necessities like screen resolution and aspect ratio, but you can also tweak a lot of additional settings like texture detail, texture filtering, anti-aliasing, dynamic shadows, post-processing, light shafts, ambient occlusion, object level of detail, and the good old field of view slider. I've heard some people say that the field of view slider doesn't go as high as they would like, but I was pretty happy with it set to the maximum. I do believe you can go in the game's files and increase it further though, so you can give that a Google if you're not satisfied with the in-game maximum. Overall then, BioShock Infinite is a superb game comprised of excellent writing, great voice acting, fantastic action and set pieces, and a rich, immersive world with plenty of secrets and history to uncover. You would be mental to miss out on this game, especially so if you're a fan of the FPS genre, and I would highly recommend this game to anyone looking for something so much more than the average game. Do yourself a favour and pick this up from our shop at gamingdragons.com.